welcome to Dr. Russ's Air Rifle Adventures. I think this is number 134. We are starting our 5th year, and my wife, Dr. Paula, and I really get amazed that many of you from all over the globe have been using us as one of your resources as you go about your air gunning, both target and hunting. We've got a pretty good one for today, but I wanted to remind you, while we're going to be doing a lot of pistols, this happens to be the Hatsan Jet 2 pistol with a stock attached. But before we get into pistols, I wanted to share with you what I really would like to do. I hope our videos on accuracy have helped you. I was involved in competitive shooting with powder guns for a long time. Not long ago, I used some of those skills, shared them with you, along with a gentleman who is into competitive air gun shooting, Izzy, who's part of the Donnie FL organization. And I hope that they helped. While that's a worthwhile goal in my mind, it's become very apparent, I didn't know this when we started the videos, that a way I can also help you is to help you know where to get air guns and accessories and supplies as cheap as possible. As you know, nobody pays me to represent their product, and that's a good thing for you. I don't need that income. Whatever savings I can make, I want to pass on to you. And just recently, in the last month, I went to the SHOT Show in Las Vegas, and my main goal was to find more sponsors there that might provide you with a real nice discount. Let me review with you what discounts that we have for you right now that we've been able to achieve. And then I'll take you into that SHOT Show and let you know about the newest one. Well, let me share a couple of victories with you before I share the newest. We learned where to get Daisy and Winchester and Powerline all at a discount, and that was through the museum, the Daisy Museum, and the little store they have at the back, and they've got refurbished guns. And that's where I really learned that if it says Daisy on it, it probably shoots 177s at a very low 350 feet per second. But if it says Powerline or Winchester, then it's on up to 750 and 800. We also taught you that if you go to Umarex USA and go after the word refurbished, you'll find all kinds of air guns from Umarex that they change from time to time, but they're about third off, and that means you get to own about a third more air guns than you thought. Another one is HatsanUSA.com. If you go to their products and then drop down and click onto Refurbished, you'll come up with different guns each week that they've gotten back. Their gunsmiths have gone over, fixed it, repaired it, whatever. Maybe the original owner just didn't know what they were doing. This happens to be one that we're going to be using in our pistols, but this has a foldable stock, shoots 25 caliber, and this is a real popular one, at least my friends tell me. It's the Hatsan Sortie, and it shoots as fast as you can pull the trigger. In this particular one, it's 25 caliber. Another one from Hatsan was this Jet 2. Now, if it says Jet 1, it just has this one CO2, not CO2, this air compression chamber. If it's a Jet 2, it has two cylinders for air compression. It doesn't have a scope. I've put this on. I'll show that to you in a minute. 17, 22, and I think 25 calibers. And it has a stock that completely comes off and becomes a pistol. I'll cover that in the weeks ahead when I'm actually shooting that gun. You know, while I've got this one, let me stay on one topic at a time. Zach Matthews of Aries, he made 100 of these very custom rifles from Rainson Edge. He took off the moderated barrel, which I normally don't have any problem with, but he wanted to stabilize this free floating barrel, and he had to take that off to do it. And then he put this ring on it. He took the flash suppressor off and put this moderator on in lieu of the moderated barrel. This gun came, if the 100 have been sold, I'm sorry to tell you, they were $699, and they were worth every bit of $1,000 more than that. But it was regulated, has the large air tank on it. It was available in camouflage and wood and black poly, and available in 17, 22, 22 and 25. Came with two barrels, 22 and 25, and came with 6 magazines, 3 in 22 caliber and 3 in 25. And they went like that, I'm sorry to say, and I'm sorry to say he doesn't keep this going, but I was able to talk him into providing this air gun until 100 of them were sold up. If I could do it over, I'd have bought one in camo and black poly and the wood just to have all 3, but I didn't. So there was $1,000 saving there. I think some of you are saving $1,000 over maybe a year with a company named CVLife, and I was able to talk them into providing a 15% discount on what I thought were already the best prices in the marketplace. This particular scope is a variable from 1 to 6, and the front is only a 24 millimeter, and I think the back is 30 or 40. But it not only has the up and down adjustments, but it also has an illuminated reticle, and I have to tell you that's extremely important when you're hunting. Critters, the trophy critters, the big ones, are really moving in the early morning light and in the late evening light, and so an illuminated crosshairs. And I think this scope here is called the Eagle's Talon. Eagle's Talon. It comes with this cantilever mount. So here you get the cantilever mount, the scope, the lit up reticle, and I think the catalog's around 140 bucks, and then you get 15% off of that. So I consider that a real bargain, particularly on this Eagle Talon. I've also purchased, I purchased these things. Here is a cantilever scope also from CVLife, and you'll see 3 screws. Now you understand that when you talk about scope rings, when you're talking about small calibers, 22, etc., you may find rings that only have 1 screw. And when you get into the more moderate calibers like 25, 30, 35, 357, you'll find 2 screws. When you get into the real bear killers, you know, that black buffalo in Alaska, he's called Black Death. That's when you need those major calibers, and those guns need scope rings that have 3 screws on the side, And because a lot of people are buying, you know, a scope that costs as much as the gun, they're wanting more screws. And I shared that with Andrew, one of the founders of CVLife, when I was at the SHOT Show last week. And I just said, you know, to protect that investment, we're all wanting to move up to 2-screw or 3-screw. One day they'll probably have 4-screw, and he said he would do that. This CVLife scope does the same thing. It has adjustments, but it also has the illuminated reticle, and it has the laser. I'm going to mount this on a pistol, but again, you just touch it and she goes on. These scope caps are all part of that, and you get a 15% discount. Here's the latest thing that I've bought from CVLife. I can't even tell you that it's good or bad or ugly, but it's very, very interesting. And I've decided that I'm going to give it a try. So here's your bipod. And there's all kinds of bipods. But this bipod comes with an adjustment and a red dot laser that goes with it to help you with your aiming. I've never seen that kind of a combination before. Also, if you have a 22 caliber or 17 caliber and some 25 calibers, keep in mind that the Picatinny rail that runs down the top often is a 10 or 11 millimeter Picatinny rail, but the good scopes, and often rifles come with inexpensive scopes. That's what this one is. Needs a special device that helps you move to these more powerful, better scopes. And I know a lot of you pay $60, $70 for a Springer, $120 for a good brake barrel, and then the idea of spending $120 on a good scope is often out of the question. I'm not going to fight that, not going to argue about that, but just understand that those guns have the smaller rail on top, and when you take off that scope, those sights, whatever, you're going to put on some red dots or a good power scope, you're going to need one of these. They're about 10, 11 bucks. CVLife sells them too. But notice here on the bottom that this is a connection for that small rail, and then up here on the top is the large rail, the 21 millimeter. And I've got even 2 of them here. So I think I've got 3 or 4. That's how valuable they are to me. Now, those are all deals. Let's see, did I name everybody? Daisy, Umarex, Hatsan, Crossman, GAMO. All you have to do is go to GAMOUSA.com. CrossmanUSA.com. That's when you get into their home website. Go to products and then go to Refurbished. Now, I think Crossman uses the name Alternate. Interesting name. I didn't pick it. But that's where you're going to find their returns. And again, their gunsmiths have gone over them. They've got the same great warranty on it. It's something I think you'll enjoy. Now, let's see what happened last week at the SHOT Show when I struck another deal for you. Airgun supplier is Evanix, which Evanix is made in South Korea.
South Korea, yes.
And you obviously make pistols and you make rifles. Was Evanix the first airgun to shoot semi or full auto or somebody else?
So they've been making rifles for 19 years, and I don't know the history of every gun manufacturer out there, so I'm not going to jump ahead. But they did make some of the first semi-auto pistols right now in the United States. So this is the brand new Viper 30 caliber. In the past, last year they released the 177, 22, and 25 caliber models. This is the 30 caliber model, and it'll shoot a 30 caliber caliber 45 grain slug at about 580 feet per second. It uses a 2-system charging tank here for air, and you get about 15 shots or 3 magazines out of each caliber. It has a Foster quick connect port for filling, a non-reciprocating charging handle. Oh, and let me do it this way. There we go. And when it is full with air, it is a true semi-automatic. As fast as you can pull the trigger, it will fire.
And it comes with this suppressor on it?
So the suppressors are extra, but if you, I can give you a SHOT Show code that you can put in the video after to get you a free suppressor if you want. We retail the suppressors at $130 though, so less than the cost of a tax stamp.
That's $130. The pistol is how much?
$975 for the Viper in 177, 22, or 25. The new 30 caliber models are retailing at $1150 right now.
Now, looking at the chart behind you, you got maybe not this gun, but some guns going to 50 caliber.
Absolutely. So this is a good example of one of the models that goes up to a 50 caliber. This is the Rex Ibex, and it was actually made in conjunction with Sig Sauer. It can shoot up to 50 caliber slug, 800 feet per second. Will produce over 500 pounds of energy at the muzzle.
Wow. And this trigger guard is a little different than I've seen.
Yep. So this is different. This is a single shot under lever where Evanix does make semi-automatic rifles, a lot of them end at the 30 caliber. So anything higher than 30 caliber is going to be a single shot or a lever action. So this actually opens by pressing the lever open, and it opens your breech. You can load in your ammunition, and you can use pellets, round ball, or slugs for these. It has a double safety when you close it. So when you open it, there's the first one, and this safety can be removed, but it won't let you close the breech. And then there's a second safety that automatically hits every time it opens right to there. So once you close it, you can push that safety right back to fire, and you're ready to go.
And what does this gun cost?
This one, this model retails at about $1,400.
Now that's the smallest bipod I've seen, but it obviously works.
So this is not an Evanix product, but it's on just to kind of show some of the capabilities with the different rails on it. It has both the M-lock and the Picatinny across the top.
This is 20 millimeter?
Standard, yes. It does use the Foster Quick Connect port, and the nice thing about these is you can daisy chain a much larger tank too. So while this gun in a 45 or 50 caliber only gets about 3 full shots at full power, physics, a lot of energy to move those bullets that fast. You can daisy chain a much larger scuba tank, so if you're at the range, sit there and shoot all day.
I see one air gauge, so one, you're just monitoring the air pressure of the tank.
Correct.
It's not a regulated gun.
Correct.
And do you have regulators?
We do have regulators for the guns, but Evanix have made a very interesting valve system where most guns kind of run on a bell curve. Evanix is almost full power on the first few shots, and then kind of drops off in power a little bit. So when you're regulating it, all you're really doing is clipping a lot of your top end power. So if you're target shooting, absolutely, we have regulators for them. But if you're going out hunting or using these for self-defense, unregulated is going to give you the absolute most power on every shot.
Have they flown you into South Korea yet?
I've been invited. I haven't made it there yet. This is only my second SHOT Show. So.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the explanation.
Of course. Thank you, sir.
I've got a deal here for any of my viewers. What's the deal?
So if you log into our website at patriotsairguns.com and use the code Dr. Russ Air, we'll give you a free sound moderator with any Viper purchase. Again, that's DRRUSSAIR, and you can find us at patriotsairguns.com, and that's Patriots with an S and Airguns with an S. We focus specifically on Evanix.
And what is a suppressor worth at your firm?
Yep, that's a $130 value, absolutely free.
If our viewers want a $130 air suppressor, free.
With purchase of a gun.
With the purchase of an Evanix gun, you'll get it free.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's a little windy out here today, but it's 50 degrees. Very unusual for Michigan to be 50 degrees right now. Should be about 5 below. But here are two pop bottles. They've got about 85 pounds of air pressure in them, and one is filled with blue Dawn detergent, and one is filled with flour. Not filled, but partially filled. And Umarex makes these red caps, and I've got to fell in love with them. They make a heck of a noise when you shoot them. But I also found on eBay some off-brand with blue caps that I thought were just as good and cheaper. So keep that in mind. Let's take these down to the target. We'll start off with this Winchester 177, and I've just put a BB in it, but it should do a number to those targets down there, which are about 35 yards away. It's all cocked up. Let's see how she does. Well, that was a pretty good explosion. Remember, that last one was with flour in it, and now we're going to shoot some Dawn detergent in another bottle. We're going to use this Hatsan Jet 2. Now, I've got a CVLife scope on it, and if I was going to take this shoulder extension off and just do the pistol, I might take this scope off and just use these flip up sights that you see in here, but that's to be determined. For the meanwhile, let's just see if this can penetrate a bottle in 25 caliber. Well, I don't think we have any question about what a 17 caliber BB does to some flour, and this 25 Jet 2, I think I got a couple of drops of Dawn detergent on me clear back here, probably. Okay, let me share with you what's to come. What you're looking at here on this countertop as I get ready, I think I counted 24 pistols here, and then the two that we just shot outside. But it all started with some reviews on these two air guns here, and I have ordered some parts. I think they're probably in by now, where I can do some things to these to make them even better. But we'll be shooting these. We'll even be covering revolvers, which are a favorite of mine. I got about half of these from a friend of mine, a retired sheriff's deputy, as he was buying storage units. And one of them was this pistol here. It's a Crossman 600. And it's a repeater that can shoot a lot of shells. CO2 cartridge goes in here. I'm still working on this. It's not working yet. I'm working on it. Always interested in sound and velocity. All that's coming here in the weeks ahead. Now, some of you are saying, hey, Dr. Russ, you didn't share any humor yet. I have the humor. I should have done it at the beginning of the video. I'm sharing it here at the end. But the first piece of humor is the top 5 reasons why men prefer an air gun over a woman. Number 1, you can trade an air gun, even a .357 Magnum, in for a new 22-year-old. That's one of the 5 reasons. Number 2, if you admire a friend's air gun, he'll probably let you try it out a few times, but not the wife. Number 3, a gun simply just doesn't take up a lot of closet space like a woman does. 4, a gun doesn't ask you to do new grips and then say, do these new grips make me look fat? And lastly, you may buy a silencer, but not for a woman. I better get this one behind me before I get in trouble. Dr. Paul is the cameraman today. My second and last piece of humor is this. It says, I feel like my body has gotten totally out of shape. So I got my doctor's permission to join a fitness club and start exercising. I decided to take an aerobics class for seniors. Well, I bent, I twisted, I gyrated, I jumped up and down and perspired for at least an hour. But by the time I got my leotards on, the class was over. Well, I hope you gained some value out of today's video. If so, you might give us a thumbs up. If not, you might give us a thumbs down. Certainly leave any comments or questions. I'll be glad to answer them. And subscribe. I think the last number I was told was 17,800 people around this planet are interested in getting our next video. I hope you are too. Meanwhile, I have some phone numbers of 2 more companies that I'm calling this week to try to get some discounts for you. We'll see if I'm successful. Have a good day.